associative learning can be done by the implicit memory. Is it clear to you all? May I proceed?
Yes, sir.
Now, when we learn something, the long-term potentiation, through the long-term potentiation we learn. As in the previous class I told that this is synapse, presynaptic end, postsynaptic end. From the presynaptic end, the glutamate comes and it attaches to the AMPA receptor. Through AMPA receptor, when glutamate is attached, then it is phosphorylated, the sodium enters, and the postsynaptic area, postsynaptic neuron became depolarized, and somehow new AMPA receptor are formed and attached. Number one. Number two, the glutamate, when attaches to the NMDA receptor, the magnesium blocks opens, calcium and sodium enters. Calcium is more here inside, so that excess calcium calmodulin complex increases the activity of the kinase enzyme. So kinase enzyme produces more NO, and NO is a gas which comes retrogradely to the presynaptic membrane, and the presynaptic membrane again release glutamate. So only one stimulus, again and again the circuit goes on. Again and again the circuit goes on. So in NMDA receptor, when glutamate attaches, the magnesium lock is opened. And in the AMPA receptor, there is no magnesium lock. That is the only thing. But once this portion is postsynaptic neuron is activated, the NO is produced. NO means nitric oxide. The nitric oxide stimulates the glutamate release from the presynaptic neuron. So this goes on. So somebody rebuked you, गाली गर्यो, एकचोटि मात्रै, होल डे गुरु किटकिट भइरहेछ. Somebody तिमीलाई प्रेज गर्यो, जसलाई तिमी मन पराउँछ, भन्नु सक्दैन, खुसी 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 है. वास्तवमा एकचोटि मात्र देख्यो, बस निद्रामा पनि त्यो आइरहेछ. ओहो यस्तो है, त्यो मान्छे आहा किन हुन्छ? Because of long term potentiation. And in that way you can remember, right? You can remember. So when we try to mug up something, if it is interesting to you, the same circuit goes on in the hippocampus. This is the part of hippocampus, upper end in the hippocampus. The same thing goes on, and the short-term and long-term memory is formed. Am I clear now?
Yes, sir.
Yes, no? Should I repeat?
ठीक है, sir.
Should I proceed?
Sir.
I am asking all the MBBS and BDS students. Should I proceed?
Yes, you can, sir.
As I already told, that is explicit memory and implicit memory, two forms of memory. Implicit memory have four properties. One is priming, which is done in the neocortex. Priming means a whole word cannot be remembered. Part of the word, if you listen, then whole word you can remember. That is priming. Procedural skill and habits without knowing, by practicing, you can learn. It is done in the stratum. Associative learning, emotional express, and the skeletal muscle training that occurs in the that requires amygdala and cerebellum. And non-associative learning by habituation and sensitization reflex pathways. So habituation, I have already told that if the stimulus is harmless, again and again the stimulus is applied, lesser and lesser neurotransmitter is released, and the response is lesser and lesser, as we showed in the snail. But if the stimulus is harmful, then it is sensitized. It is sensitized. That means the reaction will be more. Am I clear? I'll come later. In explicit memory, that means when the explain, you can remember but explain this. That is declarative, you can declare. Maybe fact, maybe event. And for that medial temporal lobe is associated. Medial temporal lobe is associated. Explicit memory is stored in the medial temporal lobe first, and then go to the prefrontal cortex, and after it comes to the base part of the menard. I will come later. Suppose I am talking about two things. One is habituation, another is sensitization. So stimulus here non-harmful. More neurotransmitter release, more effect. Barambar, time and again, if you do this, then neurotransmitter release less, and the action is also less. This is habituation. But if it is a very harmful stimulus, then what will happen? After that harmful stimulus, second time if you give the same harmful stimulus, more neurotransmitter will be there and the person will not respond, the person will react. Am I clear? Suppose somebody insulted you. One day you became very much angry. In the second day or third day, that same person wants to talk with you, a simple word he or she has told, you flew into rage. The same word caused more neurotransmitter release, and you become very much irritated, extremely irritated by simple word, which was not so irritating apparently. Am I clear? And that is called sensitization. Is it clear or not?
Clear, sir.
Sorry?
Clear, sir.
Okay. Neurogenesis. New cells are added throughout life into two areas, olfactory bulb and the hippocampus. The process called neurogenesis. Hippocampus looks like the horn of ए ram, 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 ram. भेडाको सिङ जस्तो हुन्छ हिपोक्याम्पस. हिपोक्याम्पस कहाँ हुन्छ? टेम्पोरल लोबमा घुसिहाल्छ. Now it entered in the temporal lobe. Anyway, you know anatomy. In anatomy book, you will get the three-dimensional figure also. Now, experience dependent growth of new granule cells in the dentate gyrus of the hippocampus contributes in learning and memory. So, hippocampus is the seat of short-term memory. About this we have already talked about. Then comes the explicit or declarative memory. What I have already told, and still I'll tell again. Explicit or awareness or declarative memory. You can explain what you know, you are aware of what you are talking about. You can remember, but you are aware of, you can explain it, and you can declare. After declare means, you can declare means you know it. You didn't mug it up, you know it. You can explain it. That is the declarative memory. The information go to the prefrontal cortex. Yes, yeah, prefrontal cortex. It is not in the hippocampus. It is not in the stratum, neocortex, amygdala, cerebellum, etc. It is in the hippocampus and in the prefrontal cortex or frontal cortex or in the parahippocampus. That means the hippocampus and medial frontal lobe. Working memory is there in the parahippocampus. Then from there it will go to the hippocampus. From there it will go the information. The impulse will go to mammillary body to anterior hypothalamus. The impulse will go. Then it will be turned into recent memory. Then from prefrontal cortex to basal forebrain. From basal forebrain to nucleus basalis of Maynard. That means the base of the brain. It will enter. Then it will go to neocortex and then it will be long-term memory. In amygdala also it will enter and it will be stored as emotional memory. Somebody gave you the best thing, you actually love that person and you love to get something from that person, and that has been given to you by the same person. It will enter into your amygdala and the whole life you can remember, oh, this was given by this particular person. That is emotional memory. And in the hippocampus. Am I clear? Where the explicit memory has been encoded. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
I repeat, here in the hippocampus, short-term memory. Here in the parahippocampus, working memory. Here in the prefrontal cortex, long-term memory. Here in the whole frontal cortex and the basal part, basal part, whole life long-term memory. Destruction of the ventral hippocampus, CA1 neuron causes loss of short-term memory. Ventral hippocampus. That means if the hippocampus is lost, then short-term memory loss, and then it will not be converted into long-term memory, but the old long-term memory will remain. Temporal lobe stimulation causes deja vu phenomena. Deja vu phenomena means what you have never seen in life, you will feel that you have seen in that previously. Previously you have seen that you will feel. If that happens, that the cause of this is temporal lobe stimulation, the blood flow in the temporal lobe sometimes increases, and we can see whatever we have never seen. First time we are seeing, but it seems that I have seen it. That is called deja vu phenomena. It is a French word. Deja vu means I have seen it before. I have seen it before. Right? The molecular basis of memory is increased strength of selective synaptic connections. That means the synaptic knobs, synaptic spines will be more, because synaptic spines are nothing but proteins. So protein synthesis will be more. The more synaptic spines will be there, gene activation will be there, and ultimately there is some neurogenesis in the hippocampus, and that increases the memory. And in the previous class we have already talked about the rapid circuit. If the information, that is the what we call impulse, starts from hippocampus, from there to fornix, from fornix to mammillary body, from mammillary body to anterior nucleus of the thalamus, from thalamus to uh, cingulate gyrus, and from cingulate gyrus to hippocampus. That is called the Pepys circuit. In that way also, if there is the circuit, the it flows, that means the action potential flows, we can remember quickly, right? And that way, in the hippocampus, the short-term memory, in the parahippocampus, the working memory, and in the prefrontal cortex, the long-term memory is stored. Am I clear to you all?
Yes, sir.
Now, dementia, when we forget. Senile dementia is called Alzheimer's disease. Alzheimer's disease is generally seen in the Americans. In the Asians, it is very, very less, because American lifestyle is a very difficult lifestyle. Sometimes they are very much goal oriented and body oriented, not mind oriented. Body, okay, okay, I like you, I love you, then I married you, then I divorced you, then I again married somebody, again married, again divorced, again these type of lifestyle leads to Alzheimer's disease more. The science, the research has shown that on that. So in the Asians, Alzheimer's disease is not so common. Defect in the monoaminergic system, basal forebrain cholinergic system, hippocampus, limbic system, and neocortex is there, and neurofibrillary tangles, beta amyloid polypeptide deposition, neurites, senile plaques. Those are the things to we see in histology. Neuron death will be there, mental activity slows, cognitive dementia will be there. These are this is the Alzheimer's disease. What happens? You see, the neurons, the problem in the neuron, which are the vulnerable neuron? Monoaminergic system, basal forebrain cholinergic system, hippocampus, entorhinal cortex means parahippocampus, and neocortex. What problems are there? Histologically, neurofibrillary tangles, neurite, AB peptide deposition, other abnormalities, and that is called senile death. Then you see this. This is the normal one. Normal one neuron, another neuron, other neuronal dendrites. This is normal. In Alzheimer's disease, the neuropil threads are there, and that is called the neurofibrillary tangles. Okay, neurofibrillary tangles. Now this is distorted, and the other parts of the other neurons enters, and it is also double separate, you see, right? And that is called neurites. And in between the neurites there is A beta fibril. The whole thing looks like a plaque, and that is called senile plaque. And see, for that, as it entered, so from presynaptic neuron goes far away from the postsynaptic neuron. Here presynaptic neuron is here, postsynaptic neuron here. Here you see there is a long gap, right? And that is the changes. That is the change in the Alzheimer's disease. Am I clear to you all?
Yes, sir.
Now, mental activity slows cognitive dementia. That is why with the advancement of age, somebody plays the chess or sabdo jabdo, that means the cross puzzles, etc. Then the forgetfulness will be lesser in old age. Confabulation. Confabulation means white or honest line. Occurs within the lesion of the ventromedial portion of the frontal lobe. Ventromedial portion of the frontal lobe. Kate bane. Their memory is poor, but they describe events they have never seen. They feel that they have seen, and that is called honest line. That is also a problem. Pathophysiology. Senile Alzheimer's disease is a pathophysiology, and confabulation is also a pathophysiology. The person is telling lie without knowing that he is telling lie. When we lie, we know we are lying. Am I clear? But in confabulation, the person does not know that he is lying. Am I clear?
Yes, sir.
So this is about your memory, learning, implicit memory, explicit memory, how it happens, how the long-term potentiation helps in memory formation and retention, what is learning, etc. What is conditioned, what is non-associative learning. So everything we have tried to tell you. If there is any problem, please let me know through your WhatsApp. May I stop here? May I stop here?
Yes, sir.
Yes.